Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of General Geekery. This is our special year-end edition. Last year, I did it just solo and did a my top 10 acquisitions of the year. So, Ferengi rule of acquisition number 240: if you got something cool this year, you got to show it off.
I am not entirely certain that is an official Frankie rule of acquisition. Um,
We'll check with
I
Clark
don't.
on that
I
next
just.
time. By
Yeah, I can't picture any of the Ferengis using the word "cool." Although maybe that's just because they're stodgy.
could be. All
Um,
right. So JD and I both came up with a list of the top 10 things that we got this year. Um, I tried to make mine as diverse as I could. It was not as an interesting year as it was last year, since last year I was in the hunt for all of the specialty Vipers and was kind of a little bit more diverse in what I was collecting last year. It was kind of, I won't say one-sided this year, but it was kind of hard to pick some stuff to not pick like from one line. So, and
yeah, this list was a pain in the ass to make. I don't mind saying
yeah,
that.
this was not an easy list to put. It was not as easy as it was to do last year for me. I will
I
say that.
I was reminded why I don't like making lists of anything. So
I like making lists because it annoys you.
um, I it was I did have to revise a bunch. So
Yeah, because JD was texting me like an hour before the show, and he's like, "Did you get me that figure this year?" I'm like, "No," and I knew why he was asking, so I'm like, silly me, I just expected that you had a list ready to go before the show. And he said that he was revising the one he had. I'm like, fair enough, because I did that probably half a dozen times.
yeah, because I had to I had to check I had to check some posts that I had made on Facebook and stuff just to see when I had gotten a few things. And
Nope.
yeah.
That's,
Um
I'll be honest, that's one of the reasons I put latest acquisitions on my customizing page, is so I can go back and see when I got stuff so I
ah,
can do the show.
good call.
Yeah. All right. So mine's I won't say it's in like least to best. It's just the top 10 things. So I'm gonna say nothing is like necessarily in order. It's just on the list.
Mine's not in order. I mean, I might even just randomly pick stuff up. So
Fair enough. So, JD, why don't you go with your first pick for the year?
um okay. Did you ever buy action figures just with no context? You just see it, you're like, that is fucking cool, and I
Yep,
need to have it.
100%.
Look, I know a little bit about Mortal Kombat, but I haven't played it since it was. Mortal Kombat's come a long way since the last time I played it. There's a lot of characters that didn't exist then. This motherfucker,
Ooh,
Kotal Khan. I don't know one fucking
wow.
thing about this character. I don't have a clue about this character, but I saw this character at Walgreens and I'm like, well, I need to fucking have that. So
I can see why. That is
he
awesome.
is so detailed. Um, I just I don't. I mean, I could easily look up the character and get all, but I don't care. He's just cool looking. Um, I don't.
I have a couple of Japanese figures that are like maybe Kamen Riders or something like that that Jimbo put me onto. I have no fucking context what they are. I don't even know what their names are. I sort of know what a couple of their names are, but they're just amazing figures. So I totally get that, like seeing something and have to have it.
Yeah,
No
there were
context.
a couple things that almost made my list that were sort of the same way, but um, was this guy? I was utterly struck by everything aesthetically about the guy.
Yeah, no,
So,
that's fantastic. I,
and he came with a sword that fits in his hand, but not as well as I'd like. and
Yeah.
I think I actually need to do some modifications so I can see if I can get him to hold it with both hands. Plus, the I took the sword was in his hand one time and I took it out, and the hands are made of harder plastic than most of the rest of the figure is, so
Uh,
I don't want to fuck with it. So,
yeah. Don't want to break something off.
but yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get him to hold the sword with both hands because I mean it's gigantic.
Yeah, it
So
looks like it. All right. My top first pick for the list, and I will also say before we get too deep into this that I told JD to pick like three honorable mentions. So um, I've got like three just set aside that would have made the list just cuz I don't know. My first one was something JD had reviewed on the show himself, and then I said, "Fuck me, I gotta have that," and that is the Zorro the Gay Blade 2 pack. I got by Boss Fight. Uh, like we talked about it at nauseum on on one of the episodes, and I had mentioned that this was a movie that was on HBO when I was a kid, um, which meant that it was on like almost daily during the summer. So I've seen that movie probably 20 times, I'll bet, just because it was on all the fucking time one summer and was like probably my real first exposure to Zorro. And so I just absolutely love it. The figures are fantastic. And
awesome.
yeah, I just I saw it when it came out when they announced it, and I was like, oh, it's a little more pricey than I wanted to because it was like a $50 set. I was like, yeah, I hemmed and hawed about it. And then when JD got it, I'm like, yeah, I think I bought it during the show. I think I actually ordered it while we were recording the show. So that's my first pick of the year is the boss fight Zora the Gay Blade 2 pack.
I had considered putting it on my list, but I didn't, and now I think it's just as well since I should have kind of figured that you might consider it. So um
And I will also say that neither one of us know what's on the other's
no,
list.
no idea. I mean, I can make a couple guesses what's on Brian's list, but I'm not gonna because I'll probably be wrong. So
He's going to be able to guess one of them. I'll guarantee you he's going to be able to guess one of them. He's going to say, "Yep, I knew that was going to be on your list."
um I will be shocked if one of them is not if one of my guesses is not accurate. So
And I think I know what that guess is, and you're going to be shocked because I didn't put it on my list.
all right.
I
So
don't know. So this is fun for us as well as you watching because we got no clue what the other guy's going to pick.
I don't think this will come as a galloping surprise to anyone who's ever looked at my Facebook page or looked at it specifically a couple of months ago. Classified rock and roll.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Um, this figure was a big deal when I got it because rock and roll version 1.5 with the swivel arm was my first ever Joe. I think I was 3 when I got it. There's a picture of me on Facebook holding it when I was a little kid.
Yep.
And I did a recreation picture of me holding the box with the classified figure.
Yes.
I mean, never mind that this figure is everything I've ever wanted a rock and roll figure to be. He's completely badass. He's got the bushy beard, and they took the surfer thing and the fitness thing all into account.
Yeah.
But even there was no way that this guy wasn't going to make my list. I mean, I was biased ahead of time, figuring that the because of my tie to the character. But honestly, at the time that I unboxed him on the show, the question was, is there anything I'd change? And honestly, I think 2 of the tattoos are a little bit. I think they're a little bit gratuitous. Um, like they're so dark and dense, and they're the type of tattoos that on the Ink Master competition show would have the judges going crazy because you can't see the detail. But
Yeah.
really, those are nitpicks. this figure is phenomenal otherwise.
Good pick.
And I
Yeah.
bet Brian expected that to be on my list.
It doesn't surprise me. I didn't even try and guess what was going to be on your list because I wanted to be
Same.
surprised. But that does not surprise me. All right. The next one on my list, um, I picked a lot of stuff that has like two components to it, I've just noticed, which is really kind of weird. So the next one on my list is the classified Cobra Treble Bubble with the Televiper. This came out not too recently. This is my first classified vehicle. I didn't pick up any of the Ram cycles that came out, so this is my first 6-inch scale vehicle. I put one of the Cobra Troopers in as the pilot since I like the Televiper by itself. The Televiper, I had the Trouble Bubble when I was a kid. I didn't play with it much. I used it for like a drone mostly, I think. Um, but the Televiper was obviously my first specialty Viper because that was the very first specialty Viper that came out, and I got him when he came out. I the Televiper that comes with 3 interchangeable heads, so you've got the unmasked uh, white and black skin, and then the like full face mask, and I absolutely love how that full face mask looks. It's such a menacing figure. They did such a fantastic job with this figure. One that was just like not quite goofy when it came out, but it sure isn't now. I really dig this figure a lot.
I have yet to buy that one. And the other day I saw the Python Patrol one at Target. I didn't buy it.
And that's kind of my other caveat for this particular pick. Hang on a second. I just need to put him on a figure stand so he doesn't go anywhere. Um, is so that's the it's a two-parter, but it's actually a four-parter because I did get the classified Trouble Bubble, and I'm not as enamored with the Televiper as I am with the original one, but this Trouble Bubble, I like this. I like this a lot. I am not a fan of the only time I've ever liked the Python Patrol stuff was the convention set and then the one that had the specialty Vipers, and it was a like a six figure set that was exclusive to Toys R Us. It was still O-ring. I don't remember what year that came out. Uh,
Somewhere around 2004,
yeah,
I think 2005. It was Brian loves that set. I loathe that set.
I
So
absolutely love it. It has the
I
Rock
like
Viper,
the
the Pink
Python
Viper.
Patrol, but honestly, there were two reasons I left it on the store shelf. For one, money, it's Christmas shopping season. For
Yeah,
two, honestly, I like Python Patrol, but it's just not a priority for me. I get it at some point.
yeah. And I put my Python Patrol bat in there instead of the Televiper, and I really like how that bat works perfectly in there, uh, color scheme wise. So that was my second pick for the year was the classified Treble Bubble with the Televiper, both versions.
Um, all right, next up for me, I'm gonna go with um Ryan and I both. I mean, obviously we're Star Wars fans, but we both love clone troopers. Well, there's a particular group of clone troopers created in the Clone Wars TV series called the Bad Batch or Clone Force 99. They're defective clones with certain mutations in the cloning process, so they have enhanced uh, specialties. They're enhanced um, affinity for whatever their specialties are. Well, most of the Bad Batch guys were pretty easy to get in the Black Series, but Hunter wasn't. He's the leader of the Bad Batch. He's got a facial tattoo, and he's got a red and gray armor. Um, but My friend Olivia that was on the show, she in one of the groups found a deal where somebody was selling Hunter and Crosshair for like a ridiculous price for the two of them. So I'm like, I have to. But Hunter is on my list. I don't have a ton of the clones in the Black Series because some of them are hard to get, but this guy, he's got the knife sheath on his arm. The knife comes out. I haven't lost it because it fits properly.
Nice.
Um, well, his fucking backpack fell off, and I'm not worried about it. Um, and the helmet comes off, so we can see the facial tattoo.
Yeah.
And he articulates well. He's got no crazy joints. And I mean, I've got the whole Bad Batch, and they all look cool, but and there's just something about having Hunter standing out in front that he just I don't know. I love this figure. So that is my number three pick. They did a season two version where they're less because they're no longer Grand Army of the Republic.
Right.
They're mercenaries, and it's a cool looking figure too. But and I almost got that figure so I could pretend that it was the proper Hunter in front of the Bad Batch. But when Olivia pointed out that there was that deal, I'm like, yes. So yeah, he I had to have a clone on the list. And I was like, um, I love basic clones, and I love some of the specific units, but those guys, Brian, I don't know if you watched Bad Batch TV series,
I've watched
but
a few of the episodes. Yeah.
and I know you watched season 7 when they first showed up. Talk about clones with personalities,
Yeah.
characters. I love those characters, so I had to have one on my list.
Fair enough. All right. Let's see what I got on next on mine. Um, I I'm gonna reorder it here and save it for later. Next on my list, let me pick it random here too. All right. As weird as it is, my list has a lot of 6-inch figures this year.
It
Uh,
is weird. All
yeah.
right, I applaud this, but that is weird.
I picked this up at Denver Comic Con this year because one of my fans was there and was running a store and's like, come get something and I'll give you a huge discount on it. And I've been holding off on getting this figure because it was more than I wanted to spend on it. I'm like, fuck it. It's time to get something. It's time to get it. And that is Dungeons and Dragons War Duke.
Ooh, nice.
Yes. This figure is amazing. I had the 4-inch figure when I was a kid. I had quite a bit of the Dungeons and Dragons stuff. I had the Fortress of Fangs and used it as my Cobra base.
That
When,
makes perfect sense.
yeah, but the detail on this thing is mind blowing.
Damn, who makes that? What company makes that?
I think it's NECA. Yeah, it's
Ah,
NECA.
okay.
Yeah,
Damn,
NECA makes this thing. I've still got
that
it in the
is
box
impressive.
just because I'm reorganizing how I display my loose figures, and I didn't want to lose it, and I didn't want it to get damaged. It comes with a sword, a big old sword, like a half sword, and a really big knife, and then his like trademarked shield. And then
Are,
yeah, the detail is just and the sword and the short sword and the knife are removable.
are are the points on the wings of the helmet are they sharp? They look like they'd be sharp.
Yeah, they'll put your fucking
Nice,
eye out, man.
nice.
This
Um,
thing's a walking like this is a toy that's gonna hurt you.
um, I think that guy and Kotal Khan should fight.
Absolutely.
Um, I
I'm
have
putting
no
money
idea
on
who
War
would
Duke.
win. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that they'd kick each other's ass.
The detail and the sculpting that was on the original 4-inch figure was very soft. But it was still really cool and real kind of original for the time. So this update is just everything my imagination imagined that figure to be when I was a kid. I absolutely love this thing. The only thing that would make it better is if there was a 4-inch version to go with it. Because I I would have both, quite honestly. I would not have passed up the 6-inch version. If there was a 4-inch version available, I would have gotten both.
Nice.
Yeah. So that one's kind of definitely out of left field that no one saw coming. All right. Go with your next one.
All right. This is me. I'm not even looking. I'm just gonna pick something up. Ah, okay. I am not a completist for any line, but again, there's every once in a while something catches my eye. One of those lines that caught my eye this year. I had a couple of the 4-inch figures a few years ago, but Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. Earlier this year, Jason brought out a 6-inch line, and he showed off the first wave. And I remember I didn't do the Kickstarter, but
I think we had
I
Jason on the show, didn't we?
for
For the
his
very first Kickstarter for that.
yeah for the very like years ago, like
Before we were even doing video, it was one of the audio
oh
shows.
yeah, I think it was like 2016, 2017, whenever he was running the Kickstarter for AWalk in the first place. When he showed them off, like wave one, what was gonna be coming out, I was immediately struck by Blight. Um, he is he's got red eyes, which of course my shitty camera on my shitty laptop won't pick up. But
Uh,
I love the mohawk. I love the braids. Um, the cape is off of a Star Wars figure because I had to rob him of his bandolier for a GI Joe custom. My toys are not safe from being cannibalized or pieced out for parts.
it fits in perfectly. I wouldn't have guessed that it wasn't his.
That was basically the response when I posted it online. The Jason gate was it just it looks like it's natural. I love the metallic sword, uh, the metallic turquoise color, but I mean, I added a little bit of weathering because I do that on most of my toys. Like I modified the vast majority of my toys. Like most everything I buy, I can't turn around and just resell it because people would be annoyed because I have to tweak and
Tweak it.
fix, nitpick.
Yep.
But um, all I did otherwise, besides change out the cape and whether the was add a little bit of detail to the hair, but I just everything about this character is just badass. I have a couple of other Animal Warrior, the Kingdom figures that I got. Like there's one that I made a Bobcat out of um, to go with my Spearhead
Oh
custom,
yeah.
and then there's a tiger that goes with my multiverse Tiger Force project, but none of them are as cool as Blight.
Nice. All right.
Um,
All right. What do I got next? Let me see if I can actually know what now. We'll go with this other thing, then I can dig into that. The next
ooh,
one is I picked another thing that has nice. Yeah,
face off.
totally. Uh the GI Joe classified scrap iron with his missile launcher.
Nice. I don't have it. Um,
This thing is a beast with all the flame effects and all the gear and such a cool update of class of scrap iron. And this is definitely scrap iron was definitely one of my early Cobra figures when I was a kid. I don't have the vintage one in my collection now that I think about it. Um, but yeah, I absolutely love this thing. I got it while Julian was here in town, who we had
um,
on the show early when he was here. The helmet's removable. Oops.
I like the face sculpt they gave him with the scars. That's cool.
Yeah.
It looks like he had a serious accident with his pet project.
Yeah, I did a scrap iron custom recently, and I totally based my custom off of this. Um the facial scars and um his launcher. Uh I wish I hadn't carded mine yet because did do the I did do a 4-inch scale version of his launcher.
Dude, nice.
Yeah. I need to put a little detail paint into it, and I need to do the missiles, but I'm gonna post it here pretty soon. But yeah, I put some, I mean, it's got decent articulation in the in the launcher, like the classified one has. But yeah, I think this is a fantastic, fantastic version of a fantastic update of the original version of Scrap Iron. I had a hell of a time getting it because it kept getting sold out in Amazon and Pulse. And I went to Walmart today just to see if they might have any of the Walmart exclusive classified figures, and they had like 12 of the Scrap Irons.
Yeah. Um, I saw Scrap Iron at Walmart this morning. He was at GameStop a couple weeks ago. So I'll get him at some point, but he wasn't a priority. Maybe if he wasn't a deluxe figure with the extra equipment, but it's not a complaint. That is not a saying they should not have done a deluxe for, because that thing is badass. That launcher with the treads, that's so cool. But
I was blown away when I saw the preview picture for that. And I'm like, oh man. So as much as I was kind of against the 6-inch figures when they first announced them, but I've kind of turned my opinion on that. And this is one of those that like really solidified that, because that Scrap Iron is just amazing.
um, the only Marvel figure on this list. I don't know when the figure was released. I found it at Ollie's a couple weeks ago. I had to have it as soon as I got it. Um, it's Captain Carter from What If
Oh
in
yeah.
her stealth outfit that was a little bit more. Uh, it's a little bit inspired by like the the blue and white uniform that Cap wore in Winter Soldier movie. Um, I already for like 2 years I've had the regular Captain Carter, um, but in the traditional Union Jack colors. I did not realize that a stealth version came out until I saw it at Ollie's last year, and now this one's been on my desk, the computer desk where I work from home, for 2 years since I got it. This one is going to be standing next to her, and I'm going to have them both by the work computer. This figure does everything that the first one did, but with tighter paint apps. And
Nice.
whatever that particular metallic gray or blue color they used for the is so aesthetically satisfying. Um,
Nice.
I mean, Peggy Carter is one of my favorite MCU characters, but I love that What If gave her the super soldier serum,
Yeah.
and I love that now I have a stealth version that I didn't know existed until last. I have no idea when that figure came out. I don't know how Marvel Legends collectors do it. I find GI Joe to be hard enough to keep up with,
Yeah.
but the Marvel Legends line has, like, I swear to God, 3 times the releases a year,
I know.
different
I would hate to
assortments.
be a completist in the Marvel Legends line. I mean,
I don't.
I recently have decided to stop getting Iron Man repaints and repacks. I mean, repacks at this point, I'm still on the fence about repaints just due to the sheer amount of Iron Man figures that they put out. And that's just one character.
Um.
It's my favorite character, but I'm tired of buying the same figure over and over again because they come out all the fucking time.
Well, and I don't. I don't know how the Legends collectors keep up, because between the exclusives, wave after wave after wave that all concentrate on different stuff, and I don't know how they do it. I don't know how you keep up with it. How do you keep up with the releases? How do you organize? It's so it's overwhelming. So, like I said, sometimes these things get lost in the shuffle, but then I
Totally.
find the surprise at Ollie's.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's,
um,
and I mean, I was just looking at it's going to be Wolverine's 50th anniversary next year, and they've announced 4 2-pack sets that's coming out. And there's one that I want because it has the Lady Mandarin version of Psylocke in it, and that was one of my um, favorite. It was from the Acts of Vengeance storyline in the Marvel Comics back when I was a kid, and I just absolutely loved that version of that character. And I would really like to have the figure, but I mean, it's a $50 set. There's 4 different sets. I don't know how any of the Marvel Legends figures collectors that are completists. I don't know how they do it.
Jesus. All right, the cats are chasing each other around. Hi, Pandora. They're chasing each other, and like they both have like the zoomies, and apparently they're taking it out on each other. Um, um, I I like those Wolverine sets. They're cool. I don't mind that they're 2 packs. I do mind the price on the 2 packs, and I kind of wish the 2 Wolverine figures I really liked and the pack in characters I really liked were all in 2 sets instead of 4. So I'm not getting any of them, but they are cool.
Yeah, no, and I wish the one of those Wolverines that you want was in the pack that I'm getting so we could split it,
We split it then, yeah.
but it's not. So, God damn it. All right. Is it your turn? Or is it my turn?
Oh, I just went with Captain Carter,
Oh, that's right.
Peggy Carter.
All
So
right. The next one. All right, yeah, let's do that. Where'd he go? So recently, of course, as JD mentioned, we're both Star Wars fans. Recently, Star Wars, the vintage collection has started releasing slightly more expensive but more deluxe figures. Um, some of
sham.
them are kind of
It's a
stupid.
sham.
Yeah, some of them are kind of stupid. I'm not saying that they're stupid. I actually like all of them that I've seen, but like one of them's the Tuscan warrior with a massive, and it's like if you've been collecting for long enough, you've got a bucket full of massive somewhere, and that Tuscan warrior was available. I've seen it on the pegs at the store, which is should say something, and it's really cheap on Amazon. So why am I going to pay an inflated price to have another one of figures that I already have? Yeah, but at the same time, um, there was the Dark Trooper from the Book of Boba, or no, from the Mandalorian. I love Dark Troopers. That is a huge, 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 huge one for me. I have every version of the Dark Trooper that's come out. I didn't really care for like the wall mount, but I had to have one, and they were on sale recently, and I bought 2 more. So, but that's not the one I picked. The one I did pick is from the Book of Boba Fett, or no, from the Mandalorian again. Sorry, and that's Paz Vizsla.
Oh, sweet.
This thing is probably one of the coolest Mandalorian figures that they've ever made.
Oh, I love that they got his the heavy armament and they got it right and it's in scale and he can hold it.
Yes, there is
Um,
nothing there is nothing bad about this figure. The only thing I don't like about this figure is he's got the little like baton. It doesn't he doesn't have anywhere to put the baton, unfortunately. It's supposed to go into his wrist gauntlet, but there's one like a folded up version sculpted into it so it doesn't go into there.
that's dumb.
Otherwise, it comes with removable flame effects. He does indeed hold his heavy weapon well. The shield is removable. Backpack's removable. The gun pegs into his backpack.
Does that cord flex at all?
Yes.
All right, I just wondered because I figure it's either really flimsy or too rigid.
Nope. It's perfect.
That's cool.
And
I like when they get when they get the consistency right with something like that.
they nailed this one. Everything about this figure is perfect. I don't say that very often, but everything is awesome about this figure. The articulation is perfect. The scale is perfect. The details are perfect. It's accurate to the screen. Uh, all the accessories are awesome. It's not very often that I say this is a 10 out of 10 figure. This is a 10 out of 10 figure. I bought a second one recently, um, just to have another one because I'm not going to, I probably won't customize. I thought about customizing it, but I'm like, I just love this figure. It's a beautiful, beautiful figure and it is awesome.
I need to get past Vizsla at some point. He's one character that, like I said, I'm not a completist. I buy what I like, but there are certain characters that I have to get eventually, and
I think
he's
I got
one
my
of
second one. It was Black Friday sale. They had them really cheap on Amazon.
them. So, in summary, what you're saying is this is the way.
This is the way. 100%. This is the way.
Fuck yeah.
All right, go with your next one.
All right. All right. General Clayton M. Abernathy, code name Hawk.
That's one I
Um,
figured was going to be in there.
I I did make some custom changes. I posted it on my Facebook page today, and I mentioned that Dave Anthony of True Grit Customs had modified his,
Oh man,
which inspired me to modify mine because I hadn't really planned on it.
I haven't seen Dave for years, man.
Yeah, he was just he was on Facebook. He keeps tweaking this General Hawk, and I'm like, well, shit. Now I do need to make some changes because the
Yeah,
one.
he was the one that inspired me to paint the way that I do.
Well, there you go. Well, he does really good work. Um, but usually he does. Well, he calls it True Grit because that's what they are. They're weathered and they're really they've got a lot of character to them. The way he paint, and I could paint like that, but I can't paint like that all the time. But this is one of those where, because last time we did the show, I unboxed General Hawk, and
Mhm.
even then, I said that there was what bugged me was the gun wasn't gold for his chest holster, which I had one, but I ended up finding a different one. And he didn't have the little Joe Pro tech device, so I added it
Ah,
to his belt.
okay.
But I wasn't planning to do anything else with it. And when I saw the changes Dave made, I'm like, fuck, all right, I got to change it. I got to make the boots and the pants more accurate to the vintage figure. But you know what? He would have been on my list regardless because Hawk is one of those stalwart Joes to me. When I think of G.I. Joe, he's one of those characters that always springs to mind. The 1986 complete revision of the character is the one that comes to mind. And way back in summer of 2020, when I was making a list of top 10 characters that I want to see in the classified line, Hawk was on my list. The 1986 version was the one. And so for a 3-year wait, this figure was well worth it. This is General Hawk in all of his glory. I don't they can make other versions, that's fine. I don't think they need to. I mean they probably will, but
I think they
I
will
don't
because there was in some of the upcoming box art they're showing what looks like him in his jetpack.
yeah. Yeah, I expect they'll make the jetpack version, and I expect that they will find some kind of reason to repaint this, even if it's not one that has that's because they've done lots of repaints, even if it's not a classic version or something that
Oh,
they
maybe
will find some kind of theme box set or something to repaint it in. But it doesn't matter if they do or not. I got the Hawk figure I've been waiting for, and he's he was the first one that I put on my list. So
fair enough. All right. Let me see here. Okay. We'll go with all right. Technically, this is two figures. It didn't come as a two pack like the scrap iron and its launcher and the treble bubble with the televiper, but I'm gonna count it as one pick anyway. Um, hang on a sec here. One of them ran off. And I'm gonna
I'm
go
very curious what this choice is going.
I'm gonna go with the Hiya Toys, Storm Shadow, and Snake Eyes
Oh,
figures.
nice.
Yeah, these are. I like Hiya Toys. I have quite a few of the Predators. I have a Judge Dredd. Um, I don't remember what all the. I don't remember if they're the ones doing the RoboCop line or not. But I have a bunch of the RoboCop stuff. Uh, I have some of the DC stuff before they got really good at quality control. So it's my Batman broke coming out of the box, and I never opened my Harlequin. So, but these are awesome, awesome versions of like characters that have been around. I mean, they're obviously pillars of the pantheon, as it were. But they're fantastic figures. The sculpting is amazing. The paint apps are just off the charts. The articulation's fantastic. They don't feel particularly flimsy or fragile. They're just really nice figures. And even though they are just scaled down versions of the classified figures, I still love these figures. I think they're
Storm Shadow's not though. He was based on the box art. Hasbro never ended up making that version in the classified line. So you actually do have something really special there as a toy of an early design that for
yeah.
whatever reason Hasbro ended up not going with.
But yeah, I think I could have counted each of them separately, but I got them both at the same time. I ordered them at the same time, so they stay together in the collection. So I'm just gonna say that they're just that it came as a
Well,
pack essentially.
I really think that you can't have one without the other.
Yeah,
I mean, they're mortal enemies. They're what's the word? They're
blood
not
brothers.
enemies. They were friends, but I'm saying they became rivals like when they were on different sides of the conflict. When Storm Shadow switched sides, of course, I'm sure Snake Eyes had something to do with that. But in a toy collection, like every time a new toy line is launched by Hasbro or otherwise, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow are always the first two characters announced because they're they're again, when I think of G.I. Joe, Hawk and Snake Eyes are two of the ones that come up in my head because they're ever present.
Yeah,
And I think it's almost like they should have been sold in a two pack because how do you have one without the other?
exactly. So that's why I'm counting them as one thing. I'm really, really hoping that. I mean, Hiya Toys has announced a lot of the 4-inch GI Joe figures, but they haven't put out any other than these two. I've pre-ordered the Major Blood, the Firefly, the Baroness. Um, I'm skipping the Destro. Looks really cool. I'm kind of tempted by the Destro. I don't know about that one yet. Um, I'm skipping the Cobra Commander. I have the Flint pre-ordered. I pre-ordered the Beachhead. I'm skipping the Tiger Force Flint, which was just a weird choice. Um, and it seems like there's another Gung Ho was just announced, and I'm not picking up Gung Ho. I was never a big Gung Ho fan, but I'm hoping that these get made. Because I had said I did a review of these on the show and said that I didn't see this line lasting very long because it's hard to sell something when you can't sell it in the primary market that this was made for. So GI Joe, a real American hero, I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't a lot of collectors around the world, but a significant portion of the collectors are in the United States, and Hiya Toys cannot sell these in the United States. There are ways to get them. Locker Toys, it's where I get all my Joy Toy figures. um, they recently picked up the line, and there's a online store called Cool Toy Club, I think, and that's where I've been getting these. That's where I've been pre-ordering these through, and that's who got me these. Um, so I'm still dubious that this line has any life to it because we've only seen two figures. We've seen plenty of pre-order announcements, but until we actually have them in hand, and if they can find a better way to get these marketed so they can sell them here, I still don't see this line lasting very long. which is a
I I don't have any of them. I may get some of them eventually if and when they put them out. Um, I'm dreading the day they announce Artan. I'm fucking dreading it because I know it's inevitable,
I think so.
and of course I'm gonna have to get it. And I almost ordered Lady J, but I don't want to jump through any
Lady J,
hoops.
that was the other one. Thank you.
I
Lady
don't want to jump through any hoops to get this line in case they're not actually gonna because because they can't be sold in the U.S. I know there are outlets that are getting them and can send them, but I just expect that if there's any sort of change on the other side, that if those stores for whatever reason can't get them they're because something happens with production or whatever, I'm like, I don't want to go through the heartbreak of getting these
Yeah.
not being able to get these few that I would I mean I if I wasn't such a big fan of the 6 inch line, I might have considered it. But like Brian said, these things are all over the place. That pre-orders, pre-orders, pre-orders.
Nothing showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? I would like to be wrong about that. I wholeheartedly hope that I am wrong, but I do not see a life to this line because
Sad.
there's so many people that just won't jump through those hoops, and I can't say that I blame them. The only reason I do is I've collected a shit ton of figures, the Joy Toy figures over the years, that I trust the guys that I'm getting them through if they get made. So, but
Do Snake Eyes and Storm do they mix with the Joy Toy stuff? They look similar aesthetically. I'm just curious. I have to imagine they match up pretty well, but I don't know. I have a few Joy Toy things, but oh shit, yeah, look at that. Oh shit, yeah, they could go on a commando raid together.
yeah.
Um, I I have some Joy Toy stuff. My my only my only issue with it, other than some janky articulation, is I find them to be very cool, very awesome to look at. I also find them very visually. There's no excitement factor. They're so realistic, which is what Brian likes out of his toys,
Yeah.
and I like to look at them. I don't find any excitement in hyper realistic military toys.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the only reason, not the only reason, but it's the only reason that I put up with the fragile joints.
I mean, I can understand that. Like I said, I've got a handful of them. And by a handful, I mean, wow, that's a lot of hands that if they pop off and get lost, they're gone.
And
They're
then
cool, but
the other stuff that they right now they're focusing most of their energy on Warhammer 4000 stuff, and it's amazing. And I have a couple of the figures, but this is another thing of I don't know how people keep up with this because they just pump stuff out. And this stuff does come out. Every time you announce, like, here's another 10 figures, man, those 10 figures are out really fucking quick. And they make a lot of stuff, and it's not cheap because it's, low batch. We've talked about this on the show before. Anything that's made by a smaller company that's, lower run batch is going to be more expensive just due to the production costs. And this stuff is expensive, and I couldn't afford to do it. And I'm not that vested in Warhammer 4K stuff. I got a couple just because they're cool and I wanted them to have something in my set in that scale. But the other stuff that they had been putting out was realistic as sci-fi military sci-fi stuff. And that's a huge genre that I love to read. It's one of my all-time favorite type of books to read is sci-fi military, and they have a whole line of figures like that. It's something that I've wanted forever.
two of the ones I have the have the exoskeletons. They're like the like yeah, yeah. It's like it's like a human wearing some mech type stuff.
Yeah.
That reminds me of those things in Live, Die, Repeat, the Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt movie.
Yep.
I like it.
I actually was considering doing a custom. So that's the
Well,
Tom,
I think you should.
yeah, because that's the Tom Cruise head on that
No
body.
kidding.
Yeah.
Even unpainted, I could see that that was a Tom Cruise head. Whoever did that head, they really got the likeness right. With the low resolution and no paint, I could still tell that that was Tom Cruise.
Yeah, they did a good job with that head. Um, so I go with your next one there.
All right, this guy makes my list simply because I mean the figure's great, but one of the lifebloods of GI Joe for me, it was when I was a little kid, and it still is. When they put new characters out, not pre-existing remakes, but brand new characters. Like I love the new sculpt line for that. There were so many new characters.
Hmm.
That's why I love that goofy that the mostly forgotten repaint line from the Real American Hero collection in the early 2000s because so many new characters that nobody else cared about except for me.
Yeah.
Well, the classified line has done some really obscure stuff, but the one thing that I was hoping that they would do eventually is to put out something brand new character. They did. I
I was
forgot to put
wondering
his helmet on.
if you were going to put him on the list.
um, I just I got him the other day, just in time to do this list. Um, his code name is Wolf Spider. The way they trademarked it was as Parth Wolf Spider Varma, but that's what they're doing to hold on to a lot of the characters are getting their file names and their code names together on the package. They've been doing that for years, but
Yeah.
I love that they put out a brand new character.
Yeah.
I am completely nonplussed that it's all repaint. I don't care. It's fine if they didn't give an unmasked head. I can do that. And that's not to say that they won't put out another Wolf Spider repaint later that has a different head. They might. Um, but regardless, the fact that Hasbro gave us a brand new G.I. Joe character in this line, there was no way it wasn't going to be on my list. I love that they did this, and I hope we get to see more new characters.
I do too.
Um,
I picked up the other new character, Mole Rat, because it's I'm a huge fan of the Star or of the Transformers crossovers, and it's essentially a specialty Viper that's crossed over into the Transformer stuff because he was they're mining Dark Energon, and
if
I
that figure wasn't some sort of just a zombie, I may have picked it up. When they put out new troopers that aren't zombies, I'll probably buy those. But I mean, he's cool looking. I didn't need it. But
I like it. I opened mine and immediately lost the air hose on mine.
you'll find it eventually. You
No, I
might
won't.
not, but you will.
No. It went wherever that Deadpool hand went because it I dropped it. Emily like watched it fall.
Um, the only thing that I did to the wolf spider figure, I mean, other than gluing his fucking pouches down, because look, I love that the options are there to take all the straps and shit off. It drives me nuts the way they flop around.
Yeah.
And whenever I see the pictures that people did of the dios, but like the straps are like going in two different directions, I'm like, how does it not drive you crazy? Um, but this guy, I'm using him as a seal, and as like a VBSS guy. So he needed a breaching shotgun. So before this figure even shipped, I already had the breaching shotgun from Marauder ready.
Nice.
After I got this figure, all I did was take the shotgun holster off the Tiger Force Flint's um, web gear, and I added it to his backpack.
Nice.
So it's got a holster for his breaching shotgun. And for his other machine gun, because that Falcon shotgun is janky, I gave him an extra dusty. What is that weapon called? The
I don't remember. Bullpup is the
Yeah.
style.
So I know it's specific to Dusty, but whatever. I customized my Dusty figure. So um but I love that Hasbro did a brand new character, and
Yeah.
I hope they're planning to do more brand new characters because I will get them all.
Yeah, I do too. I got mine yesterday. I too am customizing it and making it a VBSS seal, which if you've never heard of that, it's Visit Board Search and Seize. So these are the guys that do like the anti-piracy stuff, anti-trafficking. They'll they use like the semi-rigid inflatable hull boats and just essentially like run a boat up to a ship and then storm onto it, or they'll fast rope out of helicopters onto the deck, take it
I
over, and search.
I've long been fascinated with that concept. I mean, the SEALs are badass. They're awesome. I mean, I watched SEAL Team on Paramount or whatever, but the VBS guys, the guys who just they show up out of nowhere. They take everybody down and then they get out like they were never there. Who doesn't love that?
Right.
And
I'm doing
so I'm
I'm
using
doing
Wolf
a
Spider
seal
as
custom.
that guy.
Yep, I'm doing a seal custom. I ordered a bunch of I had forgotten that I had pre-ordered it, so I was worried that I wasn't going to get one, and then I noticed that, oh, look, it's shipping the day after JD's shipped, mine shipped, and I got mine yesterday. I've already got it painted. I'm doing the decals tonight. Um, I am swapping out the vest though. I got a custom vest and custom weapons for him on the way. So I won't be posting it anytime soon. It won't get done before the end of the year, but probably my first custom of the year next year. And I don't do 6-inch customs.
um, and at this point, I mostly only do 6-inch customs. It was not the plan. It's just what happened. Um,
All right. Speaking of troopers, that is what my next pick is. The classified range viper.
oh, how did I not expect that to be on your list? How did it not occur to me that that would be on your list?
This is badass. Mine, my gun's a little janky. I did get him a new grenade launcher, although the one he came with is just fine. But I did get him a custom grenade launcher. The sculpt is a lot less soft than the one he came with. But otherwise, I love this figure. Was not a fan of the range vipers when I was a kid. I don't know why. Probably because I did never see like pick one up to read the file card. If I'd read the file card, I'd have been like, this guy's a badass, and got him. I have every version of the range viper they've ever made, um, except the his tank squad. I don't have the classified his tank squad. Unfortunately, it's sold out. I asked for it for Christmas, and it sold out uh, before my wife could get it. So I don't have that version of him, but all the 4-inch versions I have, including the Flaming Moth, which is a extremely hard one to get. Um,
So what you're saying is the Range Viper is one that you took to as an adult once you got back into it, and it was one of those that grabbed you and just never let go.
yeah, I've made so many customs of range vipers.
I made a Range Viper custom to give you.
Yes,
Um,
I did a female range viper. I've done probably 3 or 4 like range viper. I made my own like range viper squad of range viper omegas. I've done like 4 of those. I've done just like 3 or 4 regular range vipers. I've done a skullbuster custom. I've done a shit ton of range vipers. It's one of my favorite figures to collect, and it's one of my favorite figures to customize. When this was announced, I'm like, ooh, I gotta have one. I gotta have one. I have 2 of them, and I'm glad I do because I can't find them anywhere. So
I ordered one. I That figure's awesome.
yeah,
Um,
100%. All right. So yeah, that was the one that I thought you would figure was on my list.
I don't even as as goofy as it sounds, it never even occurred to me that that would be on your. How dumb is
Right?
that? My next choice is the other Star Wars figure on my list. Anybody who's ever watched the Clone Wars, you'll know who Asajj Ventress is. Fuck, this figure is cool. Um, she's a great character. Like she's fascinating on
Yeah,
the show.
100%.
But I got her a couple of months ago. Somebody on Facebook was selling it for some ridiculous price. I think it was like $15 shipped or something. I'm like, yes, because I couldn't find it in the stores. By the time I started buying some of this stuff, it was gone, and I was not paying what they were putting it on eBay for. Are you crazy? Um, but the the detailing on this figure, like she's got the face tattoos and the head tattoos,
Oh yeah, look at that.
and um, the lightsabers actually can connect,
Click
so
together.
she can wield them as um
The original version figure. I think I still have one of the original versions of the figure in my collection somewhere, and they do that too.
so I just I I mean, and if you turn them the other way, well, now we're just ridiculous. But I love that the option is there. I She's one of those characters that she she's a villain, but she has a character arc on the Clone Wars that's pretty awesome.
Mhm.
But her and Obi-Wan have this banter when they're fighting where it's a little bit flirty and a little bit threatening, but it's a little bit. I don't think she's she's a Sith acolyte, so she probably would kill him if she could, but I don't I don't know that she'd be happy about it.
Yeah, that's what I
Um
was gonna say. It's like she'd do it, but she'd be like, yeah, she'd be upset about it.
yeah, I mean, she'll kill clones and she'll kill other people, but she she lives for like the fight and the duel, and this figure, she's super articulated. The fabric moves with the figure. It's not it's not oversized and it's not cumbersome like
The part in
soft goods
plastic.
tend to be. Um I there's another version of her from later in the Clone Wars series that I hope they make too, where she's a bounty hunter, because this figure is so good. All they have to do is give it armor and stuff, and they don't need to mess with it. It's a great figure. So she's she's a character that I'm glad that I finally got it, because it was definitely one that I feel like was a hole. Because again, I'm not a completist. There are certain characters that I have to have. She was one of those. And it is a very high quality figure.
I think JD has pretty much described my next figure that I picked for mine. It's
Oh,
Star Wars. It's one I had to have. It's highly detailed and it's amazing. And I picked for the next one, I picked the San Diego Comic-Con Chris Stanton.
I knew that was going to be on your list.
I am a sucker for San Diego Comic-Con packaging style, like gimmicky packaging. That's one of the reasons I like my own box sets. I did a, a double-sided Matrix figure last year. So like Thomas Anderson was on one side and then Neo was on the other. And my whole thing was that it was like a gimmicky San Diego Comic-Con thing. So I've got a bunch of stuff from San Diego Comic Con over the years, and I love the gimmicky feature, the gimmicky packaging, and this is no different because it's a trifold set. It's got
Nice.
yeah. And I've shoved some of the stuff from, so there's two versions of it. There's this one and then there's the general release one. The people were wondering what the difference is. The head sculpt is a little different on the San Diego Comic-Con one. Um, but it comes with this little drawer here, and mine's crammed full of the stuff from the regular release, so I wouldn't open it. So it comes with his big like drinking mug. It comes with the piece of the fruit that he was eating in the show.
Melu Run fruit. It's called a Melu Run fruit.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that. It comes with the big blaster. It comes with the what's there's two of them in here because one of them I don't have it displayed. I don't have the blaster displayed with my regular edition. His big sword, another blaster with the effect, um, like the um, like the crossbow blaster is in here. Um,
Bowcaster.
okay,
Bowcaster.
I couldn't. Yeah, my brain just locked up on that one. Um, but
That's what I'm here for.
uh, I didn't take it out of the packaging just because I love what they did with it. It also comes with interchangeable hands that have the power knuckles sculpted into them, and it also comes with the electric power knuckle like arcing to go,
Knuckle dusters.
yeah, to go
Um,
on this. It's a fantastic figure. Uh, Packaging is amazing. I love it. I love it. I had to have it. While I've been watching these TV shows, I'm like, I, I, I need a figure of that. I need a figure of that. I need a figure of that.
I
There's
don't have the Black Series version yet, but I will get it. But I was annoyed because the vintage version is only a few dollars less, but the San Diego Comic Con version had so much extra stuff. Then I looked at the Black Series version, which is just a standard release, and I think it comes with its bowcaster and nothing else. I'm like, why don't I get a fucking Melu Run fruit? Or he doesn't have the swappable hands or anything like that version does. And I'm like, maybe they'll put out a deluxe Black Series version later. I'm gonna hold out
I
for that.
haven't seen. I saw it in the store today, but it's windowless packaging. But when I had seen the Black Series figure, first time they put it out, or the first time they showed promo pictures, I think they've fixed it since then. It was a horrible looking figure.
They put out one quickly because they wanted to get one out for the people who had never seen Chrysanthemum before the book of Boba Fett brought him in because he was in the comic books.
It was in the comic books.
They had they had a Chewbacca figure that they basically sculpted new the straps, the bandoliers for with the shoulder pads, and they sculpted a new head. But
Horrible.
that's because they wanted it out as fast as they could. So it's not accurate. It's just it's the definition of this is minimal effort while we it's a placeholder while we do a better version that doesn't suck balls so that you can buy it again. Um, so that's what happened was the initial Black Series figure was atrocious, but it was never meant to be the main release. It was simply a stopgap until they could get a proper version out.
Gotcha. All right, what's your next one there?
All right. On the show, I reviewed or unboxed Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Cobra Kai crossover, Daniel LaRusso.
Yes.
But my big gripe then was it's called Cobra. The show's Cobra Kai because Johnny Lawrence comes and he starts the Cobra Kai dojo back up. But in the first wave of figures, it was just Daniel and his daughter, and I'm like, how the fuck is Johnny Lawrence not in the first? Well, he was in the second wave, and so Johnny Lawrence makes my list because
I was wondering.
he's got the Eagle Fang in season 2. Everything fell apart for him, so he started his own dojo, and he called it Eagle Fang, and it's a running joke that in the show Eagles do not have fangs, but he doesn't care because it sounded badass. And I love that they put the logo on here because I have a hoodie sweatshirt with that logo
Oh,
on it.
okay.
And the head sculpt though is it looks like William Zabka.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's it's not like the Ralph Macchio head sculpt, which was soft. You could see it, but it wasn't quite there.
Yeah, we talked
There
about
is
that
no
on the show.
question that this is William Zabka, and there's no question that this is Johnny Lawrence. And I love that he doesn't have the sleeves like the Cobra Kai uniforms in the movie. Um, for some reason, these Ninja Power Rangers figures that I'm not a big. I love ninjas and I like Power Rangers, but it's kind of a weird medium that I'm not invested in it. But and it was kind of weird to see Daniel, but I'd go with it. But for some reason, in all black, it works. And yeah, Johnny Lawrence. I just growing up, I was a fan of Daniel, but as I got older, I know there's the fan theories about how Daniel was the real bully and all that nonsense. The fact is, I just never really cared about Johnny until Cobra Kai. And suddenly this character has so much more depth, and I can identify with him as kind of a washed up middle age. I got stuck in this place. I never really became what I was hoping to become. The depth to which I can identify with that bothers me, but I just, he's, the show has a lot of depth and a lot of character development. And uh,
For my next one, I can't find the figure.
okay.
I can't find the figure. I'm gonna have to drop something in the show when I edit this because I can't find the figure. It is somewhere safe, however, because this came with so many little parts that I didn't want to lose any of the little parts, and I have a couple other figures from the same manufacturer, and they are super cool, and it's with wherever those figures are, and I can't find those either.
That's annoying.
No, because I thought it was in this tub, but it is not, because that's where I have all my Joy Toy seals. And the figure that I had picked for my number two is the Planet Green Valley male figure. So one of the Planet Green Valley is kind of it's kind of a Joy Toy analog. It's very realistic military with just a hint of sci-fi military stuff accessories with them. They're super detailed in the sculpt. Paint apps are incredible. Um, they had put out 4 or 5 different female figures a couple of years ago that for whatever reason, I sort of know the guy that's making these, but he doesn't have the production like Boss Fight or Marauder does behind him. So, or Joy Toy or Hiya Toys. So they're not getting released in great numbers. I was able to get 3 of the female figures um, because Boss Fight had pre-orders for them. Um, and then like 2 years later, 2 or 3 years later, Boss Fight was able to get some and fill those pre-orders for me. So hats off to Boss Fight for getting me the female figures because I wouldn't have them otherwise. Um, but Big Bad Toy Store got pre-orders for the male versions in, and I picked up one of those. And I have no idea where any of those figures are right now. They're
I
they should be in a container like this, but I don't know where that's at right now.
I was shocked that everything on my list. I was shocked that I didn't find any of it actually missing. So I actually had them all for the show. Because there's a couple of customs I made earlier this year or last year that I can't find. Now, I don't always, I mean,
Find
sometimes I lose stuff
all my
along the
customs
way.
are easy to find.
Yeah, but every once in a while, I'll put something like I'll misplace something, and Well, a couple of the customs that I made that I was going to use for dioramas with some of my other stuff, I can't find them. They will show up later. I've discovered that the key to that is to stop looking for them, and they'll show up eventually.
Oh, I'm gonna scour the house tomorrow looking for this guy and the because I've got like I said, I've got three of the gals. I thought they might be on the deck of my flag mixed in with my Cobra guys, but I don't see them. I'm in the process of I've got I've got all the space downstairs, and I've got one big wall that's a load-bearing wall that I'm buying plexiglass shelves. It's like 10 feet long by almost 6 feet tall. And then it has a ledge and then goes down some more. I'm lining that whole wall with plexiglass shelves, and all of my loose figures are gonna go on that wall in theory. Um, I got some shelves. I got some more for Christmas. So I've got 3 rows of the shelves up. So like the first row is all my 6-inch Iron Man figures. The second row is the rest of my 6-inch Iron Man figures, and then all the rest of my 6 will finish out that row. Then the next row down is all of my 3 3/4 inch Iron Man figures. The next row down will be all of my Star Wars figures. The next like 2 rows down will be all my GI Joe figures, and then mixed in there somewhere will be the random 4-inch figures, like boss fight stuff that I have. But like everything's in transition right now. I mean, it's just a disaster down here. So they're here, they're safe. I just don't know where this dude is right now.
Brian has a very different definition of disaster than I do. Um, um, but well, I'll be curious what that figure looks like when and if you find it. Um, are they the ones that made the? I remember you did some reviews, and there was a character wearing like the school uniform with the flak vest and the gun, and is that them? Okay. Um. Yeah. Yeah. I never heard of the Planet Green Valley stuff till he reviewed those. So and that was a couple years ago.
Done
So
a lot of cool stuff. They have that I'm hoping does come out. They have a really cool male and female astronaut that I'm really hoping that those get made because I will get one of each of those, and I would buy a shit ton of those if he could mass produce those for customs. But I don't know. So I think we're down to your last pick.
um, this may be
Oh shit, we're recording, right?
yeah
Okay,
yeah it's recording. Um,
I'll edit that.
I my the last one is not a favorite of a lot of people, but I skipped it the first time around, skipped it the second time around when it was available for pre-order. And then I got it earlier this year for an inflated price. Cobra Island Firefly.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I love this figure.
Yes.
I know it didn't light everybody's fire, and I think part of that was because people wanted a more traditional Firefly,
Which
and
did.
I think part of it was the people that get really um excited about like super articulation. The vest does impede that a little bit, but I don't care because it's awesome looking.
It is.
I I skipped it initially simply because I just I knew it was going to be hard to get from Target, and it turns out that was the case. And then when it was available for pre-order, when it was a little bit more available, I told Brian about it, but I was dumb and slept on it. And like 2 days later, I regretted it because it was gone. There was no way. So I bought it but I remember last year I saw like detailed pictures. Somebody did a review of it, and I'd seen the face sculpt and the eyes and the scarring, and I'm like, fuck, if I'd realized that ahead, I would have bought it because I'm a Firefly fan.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I've got more than one Firefly in my Joe verse.
Yeah. I remember you
He
talking.
he has his own disciples, his own handpicked other Fireflies that he trains. When there's a pretender, they know about it and they're out to get that guy. But So I don't care how many Fireflies they make. I will buy them all and I will use them all. But this guy, I love the accessory loadout.
Yes.
I love that he looks like he's ready. The Firefly doesn't get caught very often. He's not seen. But if for whatever reason if he runs into trouble, this guy is loaded to bear. Um, he's the body armor, the armament. I love the little flying drone that he came with because I like to think that he blows shit up, but sometimes he likes to find a vantage point away from it so that he can watch it, like the destruction of it. Like I do believe he drinks his own Kool-Aid. He admires his own handiwork.
I can see
And I
that.
like to think that that drone that he included, he flies it over the site of the destruction so that he has high resolution video to just relive it later.
I think Ray Stevenson did a very good job characterizing just what you just described.
He did a phenomenal job in a movie that was not good. Um, Rest in peace, Ray Stevenson. The world misses you a lot. You you were one of the high points of GI Joe Retaliation, and you're right. I love that. So you know what? In lieu of, since we don't have a classified Retaliation version, which I might have to make later, but as a placeholder, I'm just going to pretend that this is that version because
I can totally
this
see.
figure is so cool. I love the Cobra sigil on the armor. I love the the night vision goggles that he came with, which they're not on it simply because I've got all of his gear in one spot so it can't get lost or fall off. Because he too stands on my desk at work. But every once in a while that shit falls over, and I lost the goggles once. Not doing that again. But I got this figure earlier this year, and it really makes me sad that I didn't get it initially, but that's okay because I got to enjoy it this year. Ironically, I don't have the new one yet because I didn't pre-order it. And once they were out and in stock, like Brian got his, I checked on a few stores, Amazon, they didn't have Firefly. I'm like, well, shit. All right, I'll have to get it eventually.
I was like
But
that
I
with
love this
the
Cobra Island Firefly. I love this figure. I'm glad they did this.
I was like that with the retro Storm Shadow. I slept on it, didn't get it. It never showed up. It never showed up online. Uh, then one day they showed up on Pulse, and I'm like, oh fuck yes, now. And because it has that is the it has, as nitpicky as this is, it has the sculpted wraps like the version one figure, whereas the general release had like gauntlets. It doesn't look bad, but man, that 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 retro classified one is so version one. It just, I mean, like, I have not had a toy take me back to childhood like that since my top pick for the year, and that is my first acquisition for this year, and that is the HasLab Sky Striker.
Nice.
This was the first thing I got this year because I checked and I got it like beginning of January. This thing is fucking amazing. It's everything the Sky Striker was when I was a kid and more, because they've disengaged the wing sweep from the landing gear, which always drove me crazy as a kid. They've added so many features to this thing, updated the sculpting. It has so many accessories that goes with it. It comes with, like 5 different carded figures. Some of them I haven't opened yet, but I am planning on opening those figures. Once my wall is finished, I'm opening like most of my carded figures. I'm going to do that on a show. I'm just going to have like an opening party and open a shit ton of figures.
Ooh, nice. Um,
Came with a original character. Um, my wife got this paid for it for Christmas, like the 2 years before it came out. So this was my Christmas present a couple of years ago. Um, it's also one of the reasons that I'm doing this wall so I can clear all my figures off the deck of my flag so I can have this on my flag.
Nice. I've got my Sky Striker on the dresser that's next to my desk where I work from home. I've got it on display. I don't really have a lot of displays. It's the only vehicle but it's badass.
Yeah. I've
And
been,
it was my first Sky Striker, so
oh yeah, that's right.
new for me.
Yeah, no, I had the original 83 Sky Striker, and then I bought a fuck ton of um the new sculpts Sky Strikers for customs. I customized every last one of them that I bought. I don't have like the just the regular one. But I right now I currently have an 83 Sky Striker that I fully restored, and it looks like it just came out of the box. And I have a second one that I'm working on. Just I need to sit down and buy the parts that I'm missing for it. And I'm going to use some of the Cobra themed stickers that came with this and put it on that.
Wait.
So yeah, that is my top pick for this for 2023 is the HasLab Sky Striker.
Well, mine were in no particular order, and don't ask me to name which one I thought would be my top pick because I'm not gonna.
No.
I don't know. I uh it never even occurred to me to put something like that on the list, but good call. I
I like
am
the
a
fact
little
that neither one of us had the same thing on our list.
yeah, I was gonna say we didn't duplicate at all, so
That
that's good.
surprises me a little bit. And you
Um
know what you thought would be on my list and isn't? Torpedo.
uh I thought it was gonna be the eel or snow job. I knew they wouldn't both make it, but I thought for sure one of the two would.
Okay, well,
Um
guess what? Both of those are you've picked two of my three honorable mentions.
ah, good call. Um my honorable mentions, I went a slightly strange way. There's four of them, but they're not action figures, but they're all ones that I've gotten. They're all toys that I've gotten this year, but they were from other people. And so I kind of wanted to just showcase a little bit.
Sure.
Um, no, I take that back. There's three, but I'm going to start with a custom that some jackass made for me. Um, it's he threatened it when this was announced in the summer at San Diego Comic Con, and I'm like, no, he's not going to end up doing that. He's not going to end up buying it. Just that he did. He fucking did. Last episode he showed it, but yeah, I got it the other day, and I'm going to take it out of the package because I can open it and reclose it.
Yes, you can.
But I'm going to get some pictures of him. Like the next custom that I post, I'll include it in one of the diorama shots. But um, I mean, as much as I can't stand Tripwire as a character, and I know because he drove me nuts in the comic. And this past 2 weeks, I've been watching a bunch of the old GI Joe cartoons because they're on YouTube. He's been in a few episodes. Fuck, I hate this character. The Transformers had Wheelie to annoy the living shit out of me. Thundercats had Snarf to annoy the living shit out of me. And GI Joe has Tripwire in every one of the media. I can't stand him in the comic or the cartoon or the original toy. I like the classified version, but I wasn't gonna buy it. I don't need it. But I don't he's not a character, but the fact that they made a classified version that I didn't hate was a shock. But the
Fantastic.
fact that it works in orange and pink, I'm impressed. So thanks, Nirvana.
You bet, man. All right. So yeah, JD picked two of my honorable mentions, which was the classified eel and snow job. Um, the I saw thanks to JD, I have an eel because they went up for pre-order while I was teaching CPR one day, and I couldn't stop class to like, hang on a sec, I got to pre-order this GI Joe guy.
That seems perfectly reasonable to me. In a world of responsible adulthood, good job.
Yeah, well,
Um,
it was a bunch of cops, so if they were old enough, they probably would have understood. But I don't think anyone was old enough there to understand. Uh,
and even if they understood technically, it's just a toy. Although, really, an army builder as an exclusive, really, but I got them, so no problem. I ordered one for me and one for Brian. So,
so
um,
luckily I got mine. He's sitting out there. Again, I'm waiting until I have all my shelves up to get everybody displayed. And then yeah. So that's two of mine. So I'm gonna add something else since you picked two of them, and I'll do that here in a minute. So go with your next honorable mention.
um, hang on.
I don't have any of my honorable mentions here.
My next honorable mention isn't an action figure or a toy at all. But a few months ago, my friend Gary surprised me. He brought over, it's a deck of playing cards. I'm not really a card player, but they're Star Wars. And like they have all a bunch of characters from the prequels, the sequels, and you know what, I should have gotten the face cards out, but I loved it. I got this as a surprise. Like he brought him over. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna stop over and drop something off." I didn't know what it was. So Gary and Becky showed up, and he had this card box, and
nice.
I'm like, "Oh shit, that's really awesome!" And we played a game called, Let's Identify All the Characters. Most of them were easy. That one's one of my favorites.
Nice.
Anybody who knows me knows that the Phantom Menace is my favorite prequel, and all things Naboo. Naboo is my favorite Star Wars planet, and anything Naboo, I'm biased for it. But I like the Queen and all the costumes in the movie, and I love that she was included as one of the face cards. Of course, Boba Fett's in there.
Ooh,
It'd be
nice.
weird if he wasn't. Um, Kylo Ren's here, but really, they got Adam Driver's hair perfectly.
Nice.
Um, and my very favorite card, really should have pulled these out ahead of time. Did not think about it. Holy shit.
Yeah, I
Um,
didn't I didn't even grab my my honorable mentions. Like I said, I don't even know where my snow job is right now. And then my
that is
eel.
just irresponsible, sir.
The only
Um,
thing, the only reason I know where my eel is right now is because I just saw him when I went to the other room.
Lando, the
Nice.
card player, got a face card,
Cool.
and I can imagine. I can imagine that if he had a deck of playing cards with his own face on them, that would be right in character with him. So yeah, Gary and Becky, they brought these over. They surprised me. I'm like, holy shit, that's really cool.
Pretty cool.
And I so yeah, I'm like, it's not anything I would have bought for myself, but it was nice that somebody bought them for me because I will treasure these.
Yeah. All right. My second to the last honorable mention is the classified snow serpent, um, which I might be getting a second one for Christmas.
Are
Uh,
you going to end up getting the retro carded version later too?
fuck yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been weird if you didn't. That's why I was asking.
I'll probably get a couple of them. The
No shit.
snow serpent is one of my, I say this all the time. It's one of my favorite figures. This one's one of my favorite figures. That one's one of my favorite figures. Pretty much any of the Cobra Army Builder guys is just like, I will have them all. Thank you.
The Snow Serpent is one that I was kind of shocked it took them 3 years to get around to it because I expected that once they did the Crimson Guard and the Troopers, I thought for sure that the Eels and the Snow Job and the Snow Serpents were going to be right on their heels. They weren't, but I liked that they released them so close together because anybody who reads the original file card knows that the Snow Serpents are a division of the Eels.
Exactly.
They're trained for polar combat, and you've got to be Like to be an eel, you got to be good, like the best of the best in it. But to be a snow trooper or
Snow
a
Surfer.
cobra snow serpent, they have to be the best and crazy.
Yeah.
So um, I'm I was shocked that the eel wasn't on your list, and um, but I thought for sure that one of the two would be.
Yeah. The eel wasn't
So
on my list. I'm not a fan of the backpack that it came with.
that's understandable. I don't need a vintage accurate backpack, but I did need something cooler than that backpack.
Yeah. I would have,
Again, torpedo, same thing. I don't need a vintage accurate one, but it's so bland.
yeah.
At least
No.
the eels have that cool
Like,
logo on the back, but I
yeah.
don't. I hope that the retro version of the eel, the retro Carter version, doesn't have to come with a traditional backpack. I think it will,
I think it
but
will.
it's got to have something more interesting for fuck's sake.
Yeah. I think it will. So yeah, go with your last one, and then I'll do mine, and then I gotta get going because we got plans tonight. So
Technically, this was from last year at the end of the year, but my son bought it for me.
right on.
Her name is Sparkle. He named
Sparkle.
it.
Okay.
Um, Ducks are my favorite animals. I often joke that goats are my spirit animals because anybody who's ever met me, come on now, I got the same disposition. But
You're loud and you
there's
always
just something majestic and peaceful about ducks that I love. And yeah, he bought this for me last year, very end of, just before New Year's, and he he wrapped it like it was in a gift bag and there was wrapping, and he's like, "Don't look, don't look." I'm not gonna look. When I picked him up from his grandparents, and then he's like, "When we get home, you can open it." So I did, and sometimes if I'm having like an anxiety attack, or every once in a while I have like a panic attack,
yeah.
he'll go if he's here, he'll go and get this for me, so I can just it's yeah, and I love that this kid that he was 9 at the time and he got it, and so yes, this is my final honorable mention.
All right. My final honorable mention actually was on my first version of my list. And I have to get it too. So hang on a sec here.
Now I'm curious what this is.
So this was a pretty fantastic year for me convention wise. We went to 3 conventions. We went to Denver Comic Con, we went to Colorado Springs Comic Con, and then there was another con here up in Denver that went away, that Emily and I had both gone to separately before we met each other, and then had gone to a number of times together. Starfest was what it was called, but it went away last year. But there was another convention about the same time this year, and we went to that one, which was really nice because it was low key, not a lot of people. So it was really cool to go to a smaller convention for a change instead of these
I was
men.
gonna say that's a change of pace from that cluster fuck you described the Denver show as.
But the Denver
It's
wasn't
like,
bad. It was the Springs.
oh, it
Spring.
was the Springs Comic Con. You said before you went to that convention you were afraid it was going to be a clusterfuck. After you left that convention, you texted me, you're like, that was even worse than I imagined it would be.
So my honorable mention for this year, I met Bruce Campbell and Ron Perlman
Nice.
and got pictures taken with my custom action figures. So that is
What I
honorable.
have to know, how did Bruce Campbell react? The guy is so over the top. I love
He
him.
was he was so pressured. Nobody, we didn't get a chance to talk. I didn't
Okay, I gotcha.
didn't get it autographed because the autograph lines were a mess, and I got like 2 seconds with him,
All
and
right, you got him holding it, and that's cool.
in a crazy pose. And when I saw he was gonna like ham it up, I did too. So, it worked. I'm glad I got to meet him. And yeah, Ron Perlman was super cool. Seemed Emily put it really, really interestingly, she said he seemed like somebody's grandpa. So
He is many people's grandpa, as I understand it.
yeah, I wouldn't be
He's
surprised, but he was a little old man, for sure. I had no idea. I mean, I've got like probably 3 or 4 inches on him.
really, I just because he's huge as Hellboy. Oh yeah, I guess so. I guess I just expected that in real life he was about the size of Hellboy. Because even like on Sons of Anarchy, he's a big dude, but wow, okay.
Yeah, no,
Um,
got I've got I've still got like 3 or 4 inches on him. So
did you ever read his memoir
no,
that he wrote? He narrates the audiobook. Um, I'll I'll let you I'll let you listen to it. It's really phenomenal.
yeah, I like to.
Yeah, he's hearing his own words in his voice and his actual opinions on things. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
All right, man. That is the rules of acquisition show for 2023. I think there was, even though I say it was very classified heavy, I think that both of us still got a lot of cool stuff that was not in the classified line.
I was
I,
gonna say I think we had two pretty well-rounded lists.
yeah, fantastic. I think this was a great show, and that we didn't duplicate anything, and um, yeah, we
Well,
didn't.
and we didn't wait until the very end of the year because we thought I'm not getting anything else, so I'm like I can do a definitive list. It's not like I'm waiting for something else to come in because I have two other things pre-ordered, and they're Shadow Tracker, and I have no fucking idea when that's coming, and
A ton of stuff pre-ordered right now, and
I've got some other stuff, but it's not coming out till next year. So I was like, I can comfortably do this list as is. So
I recently got the Soundwave Thunder Machine, and I thought that might make the list before I got it, but it 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 didn't.
yeah, I
Compared,
watched that review. So basically, it's awesome, but doesn't rank as a favorite.
no,
Nice.
it's worth getting. It's worth picking up. If you're a diehard fan and you need it now, it's worth picking up. If you really just really want it, wait till it goes on sale at Amazon.
I did get the
Is
Bumblebee
it?
set.
Yeah, his
You know
tank,
what?
it's been up and down. I've seen it for as low for that $49 again.
I I just it's cool. I hate the transformation process. It's not exactly straightforward. It's just complicated enough to annoy the shit out of me.
That's why I
Um,
recommend watching a video once and seeing somebody do it.
oh, I
And
did, but actually doing it myself, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm just going to leave this thing in Awe Striker mode because as much as most of my Transformers are in robot mode on the shelf, which needs to be dusted and organized, but they're all robot mode except for except for the Transformers that are animals. They stay in their animal forms, but yeah, no, it's just going to stay in the Awe Striker form. I don't want to transform it again. So,
I get you
but
feeling. So
all right, Merry Christmas, listeners. Thank you for being here. So,
thanks for watching. Please do all that fun social media stuff. Like, share, subscribe, comment below. Put your top 10 list in the comments below.
yes, please. I'd love to read what people's top 10 lists are. So,
Absolutely, 100%. And we will do this again next year. So
all right.
until then, we'll see you next year. And just a quick shameless self promotion. I will be having my custom review up on the YouTube channel shortly. All the customs that I made this year. I think that's about it. But thanks for watching.
All right. Bye.